This is a tutorial on how to use Powtoon in order to create a multimedia presentation. First and foremost, in order to create a Powtoon, you have to go to www.powtoon.com as indicated in the address bar. Once you're on the powtoon.com site, you'll notice that there are several menus on the top right corner of their page. There's Explore, there's For Business, the pricing schema, there's a blog, there's a support menu, a login. If you already have a login, you can click there, and a sign up button. If this is your first time on Powtoon, click on sign up. You can sign up with your Google address, your Facebook, or your LinkedIn, or you can just put in your name, email address, create a password, and then hit the sign me up icon on the bottom. Right now I'm going to go to log in because I already have an account. On this login page, you'll see several different ways that you can start a new presentation. You can start a new presentation from scratch. You can start a presentation by creating a story scene by scene, or you can use a popular template that's already been created. That would be the fastest way to create a Powtoon. I'm going to click on that. The first thing that it asks is to choose a specific template of your choosing. There's many to choose from. Keep in mind that if you're using a free account, that you can only use the ones that use free features on it, and the software will tell you whether or not you're using free features. I'm going to go ahead and use Teacher Introduction. You can preview it to see if you're interested in using that, or you can hit the Use button to jump right at it. So I'm going to go ahead and use this template to show you some of the basics on how to create the Powtoon. So basically it's loading the template right now. What you see on the screen on the middle is the Powtoon screen, and it gives you a nice pop-up to play another tutorial from Powtoon on the basics of creating a Powtoon. So you can get more information from there. So on the center screen is what your first slide will look like. As you browse around, you'll see the text boxes will appear, and you can manipulate those. So I just clicked on the text box that says hello, and it gives me the option to change the font size. If I wanted to make it smaller, I can just type in another number. If I wanted to have it a different color, I can use the color wheel. If I want more options, I can click the setting icon, and I can add different effects, create a link. I can use my justification, make it bold to how I would like my presentation. Let's say I don't need all of these and I want to remove some, so I can click on a text box and I can just hit the delete button and it disappears. If I want to move a text box around, I just need to click and drag the text box and drop it wherever I want it to go. Drop it by letting go of your mouse button. If I wanted to add another text box, I can go over on the right-hand column of the page, and there's several tools there. I could change the scenes, the background. I can add more text, characters, objects, graphs, sound, and media. And there's some special features in there as well for advanced users. I'm going to show you how to change the character. I'm going to click on the character, and up at the top you'll see a couple of different controls, including your settings. If I wanted to change the character out, I can hit the swap button, And the swap button allows me to go over to the right-hand side and choose a different character. There's different pools of characters to choose from, and you'll notice I'm selecting one from The Office, which is a free set of characters. I can choose any one of these, and as I hover over the character, you can actually change their actions and what it is that they're doing. So now I've changed it to a character who's thinking. Now you'll see I can actually change the size of the character by clicking on the corners, and I can move the character around by dragging and dropping the box. So let's say I'm done with this slide and I want to move on to the next. Over on the left-hand panel, I can click on the next slide. And I can edit this slide however I like, just as I did the first. Another feature that's important to note is that there's a play button down at the bottom of the screen. When I hit the play button, it'll show you what's going on the screen. You can edit that by, on the bottom right-hand corner, clicking on Timeline. And now you'll see a bar that shows how long this particular slide will show for. This slide will show for 7 seconds. You'll notice I'm clicking on an upside-down dark blue triangle, and that's moving the slide as the viewer would see it. So I'm going to drag this over to 0 seconds, and as I move it over, you can see how the text is coming in, and you can see how the character is moving around from 0 to 7 seconds. You could change any of that by clicking on the object, like the character, and you'll see she starts at 0 seconds and ends at 7 because all of it is blue. If I only wanted her there for 3 seconds, I just dragged that right side over to the 3-second mark, and she disappears. Now there's other more advanced features like how to make the text come in, how the different ways to make the text fade out, as well as the characters in or out. But since my time is up, I believe that's enough to get you started on how to create a Powtoon. To finish here, all you would need to do is basically save the Powtoon, by closing the side menus, and you should see a save and preview button and an export. It automatically saves every so often. When you're totally finished, you can hit the export button and it'll create the Powtoon. You can create a Powtoon player page, or you can save it to your social media or other forms of media like an MP4, a PDF. You can save it as a PowerPoint if you pay for that service. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit create. And it asks you for the different categories. I'm going to call this education. I'm going to keep this as an unlisted Powtoon. That way it can't just be readily searchable by the public. And I can set the screen resolution. You hit export, and your Powtoon is ready to go. To share the Powtoon, you can just click on the address at the top of the page, copy, and paste that into your message to whomever you want to send it to. And that's your brief tutorial on how to use a Powtoon.